Hello, everyone. I'm back after almost a week off of the internet. I have within the ministry we have two children. Either they're teenagers and they're going to college and out of high school and everything that are really whiz bangs with the computers. And one of them came over to fix it. It was just a simple touching a button which I never knew about. But anyway, I'm glad to be back, and I thank my helpers of fixing my um, uh, internet connections, all of them that helped me so much and encouraged me. Oh, I'm so happy to be back. I just so grateful. Uh, I I want to show you before I start what I'm supposed to be talking about. The kissing angels. When I was a little kid, I don't know, maybe in third or fourth grade, I went to a wonderful place called Rosemary's. It was a jewelry place. Anyway, I was going to get a birthday present for Mrs. Shadow, who lived next door to us in an apartment building in a duplex. Anyway, she was a wonderful lady, and I thought well highly of her. Anyway, I had some money, and I went down on Independence Avenue. It was a little stretch for a little for me at that age. I thought I was going in all by myself, independent. Mom knew about what I was doing. Anyway, I took my money and I went into Rosemary's. Well, later, this place was owned by the father of one of my brother-in-laws, Dominic Cerrone, Mr. Cerrone. Well, he met me at the door wondering, this little kid, what's he wanting here in a jewelry store? Anyway, I was getting a gift. I don't know what brought me there. I think it was not a jewelry store, but a florist store. Florist store, okay. But they had little gifts for people. Anyway, I saw this in the case, and I said, I want to buy this. Well, I mean, what a little kid, how much money he has and everything. I forgot how much money I had, but whatever I had, it wasn't much. And Mr. Cerrone treated me so fatherly and so nicely, and not knowing that I would have a brother-in-law from his family years later. Dominic married my kid's sister, my youngest sister, Jeannie Marie. Anyway, that's what I bought, a kissing angel. Now, when Mrs. Shadow, kissing angels, when Mrs. Shadow died, the heirs of the family gave this kissing angel back to Mom, and she has it in her knick-knack and curio shelves at home right now. So this goes way back, but it does give me some things to talk about friendship. The angels are very innocent. Notice they're not hugging. Nothing wrong with hugs, but it's very pure and very precious. And I just want to celebrate the friends we have, to get their God's blessings. We need friends. We're not made to be sort of out there in the middle of the woods by a lake. I'm all for the woods by a lake. We got to go there, but we have to have friends. Come back and share what we saw, the ducks and the fishing and the sunsets. Yes, because our experiences aren't validated until we share them, and then when we give it away, we double our the experience of love. When we give love away, we're made for love. We're not made to be isolated and selfish. We're made to God's image and likeness, who is love. Okay, I wanted to mention these. I love these, and and it's a real sign of friendship, of pure friendship, of innocence and beauty. That's what they mean to me. Okay, and I'm sure other people too. Anyway, that's the kissing angels. What I want to talk about, at Mass today, I just sat and listened to St. Paul, the first reading for Thursday of the 23rd week of the year, from the epistle. I got to read it today. I was the one that read it, and I was really moved by what St. Paul said to his Corinthians. He's talking about 1 Corinthians 8. That's where this reading is taken. 1 Corinthians 8. Okay. 8. Okay. Anyway, he's talking to the Corinthians who are strong in their faith. And he's telling them not to treat the newcomers who aren't strong in their faith, that they're very weak. And they're talking about meat sacrificed to idols. Well, of course, the Christians who are strong in their faith wouldn't even touch the stuff. But there are some who have not a clue. You know, they go get the meat market, and they go get sacrificed to idols meat. And the other ones condemn them for it. And St. Paul is so kind, so pastoral, not on the people who are doing this, the weak. Listen what he says. You know, he says about this. When you sin thus against your brothers and wound their weak consciences, you are sinning against Christ. Therefore, if food causes my brother to sin, I will never eat meat again, so that I may not be an occasion of sin to him. What he was trying to say was, don't be so hard on these new Christians who are who said this meat, they are not fully aware that it has been sacrificed. These poor guys, they don't even know what they're doing. They're clueless about it, and because their conscience is weak. You know, they don't have a shaped conscience like you guys have. You strong people in the church, you pillars of the church, Corinth. Take it easy on these people, because he says, when you're hard on them, you're driving them away, and you're sinning against Jesus himself, because he's the one who talks about the body of Christ. So we have to treat these new Christians who aren't all there yet. You know, they're growing in their faith. Faith is a process of growth, a lifelong process. To be kind to them. When I was pastor in the churches, my greatest heartbreak wasn't the sins of our people. I mean, we're all weak, and I just see very little maliciousness, but a lot of human weakness, and I just sit there and cry in the confessional, all the goodness and all the struggle and the beauty of souls I see and everything. Even when you think, oh, are you going to be cynical? No, not at all. You only come closer to Christ, and you see Christ's grace working in them. But the one thing that hurt me the most in all the parishes were when people would judge another, we had a Vietnamese family coming in. They were wonderful. The kids were in school, they were doing great. The family was very devoted and just wonderful. We're so proud of them, and everybody was so kind. But one person had no authority, uttered something about tuition in the school because they were getting a little break or something because of their large family. Well, our Rollin has got a lot of breaks because we were 8 kids, so what's the big deal? But anyway, with tuition. But anyway, they were so hurt that they pulled their children out of school. I was so hurt. I went and pleaded with them. I said this person had no right to say this, and pleaded with them to come back. They were deeply, deeply hurt. Of course they knew their pastor loved them. Of course they knew Jesus was in the church and everything. They didn't stop going to Mass or anything, but his heart broke my heart. And I mean, with mixed races, I was in a lot of poor areas, and some of the established people in the church, they had these other people coming in, be they Native American or Hispanic, and sometimes they didn't get along very well. Our people, and I just tried to help them, say, we're all God's children. God bless the culture of the Native American. God bless the Hispanic. Viva la Cristo Rey. You know, they infuse such energy into our Catholic faith. So when people don't look at them right, or when I have people who are from the street and they come in all maybe a little bit shabby to some people, but I think they're just in the most princely robes, because they're coming. They have dignity too, even though they're in jeans and a t-shirt or whatever, and have tattoos and piercings, whatever. That doesn't matter. Jesus loves us all, and those are the people we must welcome the most. Last weekend, I brought one of those little people, to my home for the family reunion. Oh, I was so happy. I just cried, but for joy. they received this person with great tenderness and hugging, and even put a brace a necklace around them that represented that they are part of the family. All the women, all my sisters and my sister-in-law have these necklaces with a cloth. It's the two hands of a fellowship. It's an Irish cloth, an Irish symbol. They put that the first thing before she got off the train. I mean, out of the Union Station, they put that on her. They honored her like a queen. One of my brothers, John, I was talking to other people in the shelter house at the reunion, and I was letting this person alone and hanging out, all alone, and my brother John came over and hugged her and talked to her and gave her dignity. So to me that's true Christianity. A few lessons back here in St. Paul, he says when the man comes in all dressed and with all kinds of jewelry and all that, the host runs up and gets them and sits them up in the front. But when a shabby man comes in, you could sit by the kitchen door there. It puts the shabby. And St. Paul said that's wrong. That's the thoughts of. Oh, he used some strong language about that. You've done the wrong thing there. And but I'm talking to the choir. I know you two people. You would never want to do anything to hurt anybody's dignity. But Jesus was even accused. He's eating with sinners, publicans, and those were the scum of the earth for the Jewish society. They capitulated to Rome and collected taxes from the occupier, and then they would, to make the money, they would skim off the top for their own profit. Here Jesus was in there having a drink and eating with them, and with prostitutes who were known all over for what they were doing, and the self-righteous really got on him. Look at him, he's eating with drunkards and publicans and prostitutes. So what I'm trying to say is, from everyone we're called to, from the rich man way up in a penthouse, we're called to love him, hello, and call him maybe to help people down on the streets. We're called to love everyone, especially the little ones. And when I see that love for little ones, I went from other people, and they do. There's my own family, which I am so glad. Dad always taught us, our dad, to accept everyone. I remember he corrected me one time when I was working at the St. Joseph's Hospital on Troost and Meyer Boulevard or someplace. Anyway, out there somewhere. Anyway, Dad came to pick me up from my work, and it was outside the boiler room, and on the other side was the laundry room. And I told my sisters Joyce and Janice, I don't want you ever to be in that kind of a job where those women have to pull all that laundry out of those big vats and things. And Dad was on the other side of the car. He came around. I said, oh my God. He was very stern. And he came around and says, Jim, I don't want you ever to talk like that about anybody's occupation. Well, I learned the lesson right there. To put anybody's occupation down. But that's putting them down too. It's a personal thing. So Dad was inclusive, and he did. I always saw him going with someone who was maybe lonely. He would go over and talk with them and have a beer with them or whatever. He was always for the little person, and the kids caught that, and maybe I caught it a little bit too. And I hope you families teach your children love for the poor, and to go places where you could help the poor, and in a loving, happy way, giving them dignity and joy and happiness, that they count and they're precious as we are, as everyone is in the eyes of God. God bless you now. I am so happy to be back on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. Sorry to be off and not knowing how to press a blue button over a modem. That's what kept me away from you. So how stupid of me. But God gives me wonderful people to come over here and help me find that blue button on top of the modem. God bless you. Bye-bye now.